Why do we say, I will grab a shower, but not I will grab a bath? Expressions like this can be hard to master for non-native speakers. Here, personalized technology could help them learn how to express themselves more fluently. A possible solution to this problem is the DiscoCat framework. DiscoCat stands for Distributional Compositional Categorical Framework. The DiscoCat framework explicitly models both the syntax and semantics of language. It has been successfully used for modeling the meaning of existing text. Now what I want to do is expand this framework to make it suitable for creative natural language generation. More broadly, I am studying which kinds of semantic representations are needed for text generation. But before I go into this any further, let me first take a step back and look at these types of sentences that I mentioned at the beginning. What are they? Why would we care about them? What do I want to do with them? And lastly, what is my approach? Consider this sentence. Alice read the paper. This is what is called a full verb construction. We can also say Alice gave the paper a read. This is what is called a light verb construction. And the reason for this is that in the second sentence, the verb gave is semantically bleached, or lightened if you will. Now, why would we care about these types of sentences? First of all, they are a subproblem of the broader question of how semantic spaces interact. Secondly, they have interesting syntactic and semantic properties, as I will illustrate in a minute. And thirdly, they are a phenomenon that exists in many different languages, so it's not just limited to one language. Let me give you some examples of the various syntactic restrictions that are imposed by light verb constructions. For example, the verb give can be combined with contact nouns, such as kiss, kick, and hug, but also with stimulus experiencer nominalizations, such as scare, fright, and tickle. On the other hand, we cannot really say things like give an interest. This simply sounds weird. Here the correct expression would be to say take an interest. And these are just some examples of the various syntactic restrictions imposed by light verb constructions. Apart from this, there's also a semantic nuance that they bring to language. Psycholinguistic research suggests that light verb constructions are perceived differently than their full verb counterparts. For example, in the case of a durative event, using the full verb construction, Alice gave the paper a read, light verb construction rather, Alice gave the paper a read, is perceived as taking less time than using the full verb construction. Alice read the paper. There's also a link to second language acquisition. Non-native English speakers tend to use more light verb constructions as their English proficiency increases. And personalized technology could really help improve the learning trajectory of these second language learners. Now, what do I want to do with all of this? First of all, I want to develop a system that can convert between existing light verb constructions and their full verb counterparts. And I call this light verb construction interpretation and generation. Then I want to expand the system to make it suitable for creating new light verb constructions that are still understandable even if they're a bit unusual. Now, what is my approach to this? My claim is that the classical part of speech categories, for example, at the level of nouns and verbs, are insufficient for text generation. And this is because we want to take into account what is called selectional restrictions. We want the system to be able to express sentences like Alice read a paper, but also Alice read a table, or even Alice tabled a paper. These are all correct linguistic expressions. And of course, we want support for sentences like Alice talks, but not the table talks, because tables cannot talk. And because of this, we need a more fine-grained subcategorization of word types. For example, in this case, at the level of living beings, actions, objects, animals, and humans. As we have seen, light verbs are verbs that are semantically bleached. They have interesting syntactic and semantic properties, which is why I want to study them. My goal is to develop a system that can convert between existing light verb constructions and their full verb counterparts. I then want to expand this system to make it suitable for creating new light verb constructions. And my approach to this is to study which kinds of subcategorizations are needed at the syntactic and semantic level. This research will give us a deeper understanding of how semantic spaces interact to convey meaning in language. More broadly, this research will contribute towards language models that are more explainable and transparent. If this sparks an interest, come and take a look at my poster so we can have a chat.